Good morning. It's currently 5 a.m. again. We're going to the flea market. Not really sure what we're going to get into today, but we're going to try to find vintage clothes. It's going to be pretty cold. I layered up. I've got on a Woolrich fleece from the 90s, this Gap hoodie, and it's a vintage MGM hat. Sorry, my mirror is a little bit dirty. Alright, I think it's time to head over. Let's try to find something good today. Alright, I just got here. Seems like a pretty good turnout today, so let's head over, see what there is. So one of the first interesting things I saw was this Snoopy bank, but I didn't end up even really looking at it because I got sidetracked by this bank. I thought it was a vintage Camel Cigs bank, but it turns out to be a vintage parody of Camel Cigs, and it's labeled as Smokeless Bank, Cough Up the Cash. Pretty funny. I was going to buy this, but then I flipped it around and saw they were asking $15 for it, and whenever I got home and looked it up, they go for like 10 online, so I'm happy I didn't buy this thing.
Pretty much, yeah. 620 on New Jersey Road 1.5. Here is your info weather checking your days out.
As I like to say, the weather matches the trees. Fall foliage in full bloom right now. We're at or just past.
One of the sellers had this towel sitting on top of a bin. At first, just seeing the outside of it, I thought it was Ronald McDonald, so that's why I opened it up, but it turned out to be a couple random cartoon characters. Couldn't find this thing online, so you guys will have to let me know what this is actually from, but I didn't end up buying it.
Eight, nine.
Bye.
Just got back in the car. It's currently 8 a.m., 7:57, and I'm heading out from the flea market pretty early, but it seems like all the vendors are there that are going to set up. So yeah, I walked around a ton. I need to look at how many miles I walked, but I'm sure it's at least like 2 or 3 miles just taking laps around. Now I'm going to go park somewhere to show you guys my entire haul. Didn't find too much clothing today. There was some there, but it was mostly just from other vintage sellers. I didn't really see anything too cool, so I didn't really buy anything. I did buy a couple hats from one of the sellers that I knew that I'll show you guys later, but in terms of clothing, didn't find too much. Just really hit or miss with clothes. You never know, and a lot of the times when people do have clothes, it's like newer random stuff. So but I did end up finding some pretty cool and really random stuff, as you guys saw, so I'm gonna go and talk about that a little bit more. I need a restraint on me because I seriously will just buy the most random stuff possible. I mean, if it's something that I've never seen, it's something like interesting and weird, I just have to buy it. So yeah, I found this thing. It's a vintage Budweiser advertisement. The guy told me that he thinks what it was originally used for was they used to be able to put posters in the middle of it at like bars or restaurants, and then they could easily just swap the poster on the inside out and still have this main frame. Pretty darn cool. Never seen one of these before, and I was thinking about maybe putting like I have like a monitor or like a computer screen that I might put this over, or maybe a TV or something, but it could look really cool. It's in good shape too. It's not cracked or anything. It does have some like discoloration up at the top. Yeah, and kind of like throughout. So I'm gonna try to clean it up and hopefully it comes out good. This thing is just so random and cool. For now on, I might just do videos with my head in here But yeah, this thing is really cool. Another cool thing I found was this vintage Nickelodeon The Wild Thornberrys movie bag. Didn't know this existed. The guy who sold this to me wasn't even selling this thing. He had a bunch of like unopened underwear that you would get from like, I don't know, Costco or something. I'll put a picture on the screen here. Basically, he had all those in there, and I was like, are you selling the bag? And he was like, sure, I'll sell the bag. So he sold this to me for $8. It's like a mix between a backpack and like sort of a suitcase. Like it has the handle up top. You might see somebody in high school rolling around with this thing, but it is really cool, from the original movie. And I'll put up a picture on the screen here. I was trying to do some research online. I didn't see any for sale on eBay, but I did see an LL Bean Wild Thornberrys bag. Hope I can find that someday. That's really cool. Be surprised how many random tote bags are out there for like Nickelodeon and other brands like that. I remember I found a Nickelodeon tote bag. I'll put that video up here. I found this tote bag I would say maybe 6 months ago, and it was really cool. It was big. It wasn't LL Bean, but it was like the same quality and everything. It had all the different Nickelodeon shows on it and everything, so that was pretty cool. It's got some great details on it, like the little pull strings here. And here's what the inside looks like. It's a pretty big backpack. It's got like this on the bottom, so it's really kind of like a firm backpack. Like it keeps its shape really well. Here's the other stuff I found. Completely randomness today. One of the vintage sellers that was there sold me these Club Camel hats for $5 a piece. These are pretty nice. Yeah, that's some wear on the inside, and these are from 1992. It has a tag on the inside. I also picked up all these vintage WWF Christmas ornaments. Never seen these or knew they existed, but I saw somebody selling these and I was really tempted to buy them when I first saw them. But then I took a couple laps around and was thinking about them, and I was like, Christmas is coming up and these are just so random and cool. They all have different wrestlers on them too. It wasn't just one single wrestler. Honestly, I thought they were all like the same whenever I originally bought them, but now looking at them, you know, they got Kane, they have The Undertaker, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. These are all dated 1999, and if you guys don't know already, WWF changed to WWE in like 2002 or 2003. So if you see something with WWF on it, you know it's from like at least the early 2000s, probably from the 90s. Most of the merch that I find is from like 1998, 1999. They aren't allowed to use WWF anymore, so you won't even see any modern merch with WWF on it, so that's a pretty easy way to tell that it's something vintage. The same guy who sold me the ornaments sold me a few other random things too. Like I got this iPod. I don't know what kind this is. It might be a Nano. It doesn't say on the back, but I saw this and it was like too nostalgic not to purchase. I think I want to turn this into a belt buckle, so yeah, I might do that eventually if I can figure out a way to get the actual hook onto the back. I have a few spare ones, but I'm not really sure how I should attach it. I don't even know if this works or not, but it seems to be in pretty good condition, so I thought it was worth picking up. He also had this Marlboro Zippo lighter. You can see it says Marlboro on the side. This one is, I'm not sure if there's a date on it, but there's no way it's from the 90s because, I'll show you in a sec, but yeah, it's 2006. So it doesn't have any branding on it, unfortunately. The reason I thought it wasn't from the 90s is sometime in like the late 90s, they put more restrictions on stuff that Marlboro could make, and a lot of their merch just like, they kept making the merch, but it didn't really have any Marlboro branding because I don't think they were allowed to do that. But yeah, never been used, and it says Zippo on the bottom. Not sure if you can see that or not, but I thought it was still worth picking up. I ended up spending $40 on the stuff that I got from him total. I found a couple more things too. Here's another extremely random thing. It's a Crazy Taxi 2 video game car air freshener. Why would I buy this? I don't know, but I don't know if I'll ever see another one of them, and it's just so funny and random. Doesn't really smell like anything. Usually these things are like so potent, but maybe after all these years it just doesn't smell anymore. I'm not really sure when this game came out. I'll have to look it up and put it up on the screen now, but it says pre-order at ebgames.com or gamestop.com, so I don't know what EB Games is. Yeah, I guess maybe that's where games were sold at one point. I've never heard of it now. I also picked up this Nike cycling hat from the guy. This is from like the late 90s, early 2000s, judging by the tag. This is another random pickup for me, but I figured I would buy it because I was buying all the other stuff. He also had a Florida Panthers hat that I was gonna buy, but whenever I asked him how much he wanted for it, he said $20, so I was like, yeah, no thanks. And then my last two finds were two hats. I saw these sitting on one of the tables, and whenever I started looking through the pile, it was mostly just new hats, but then at the bottom I found these two. I found a Jim Beam racing hat and this New Jersey Devils 1995 Champions hat. This one's by the game, and whenever I asked the seller what he wanted for them, he said $3 a piece, so I was about to pay him, and then he was like, you know what, I'll take $5 for both. So I was like, yeah, can't argue with that. And then this Jim Beam hat is from the 2000s. You can just kind of tell by the fit of it. Definitely not a 90s hat, but still a good pickup. So those are all my finds this morning. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel and let me know down below which find was your favorite. I know they were super random, but you never know what to expect at flea markets, and it was a lot of fun looking around for them. Thank you for watching.